To the top, here I go, think I'm chosen to be the king of rock, think the people have spoken. I can hear the tick-tock of the clock, I'm in motion. So now I'm gonna pop, causing all this commotion. Yeah. Sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable.
We're here tonight to do a review for AEW Dynamite for June 26th, 2021. It is a Saturday show, but before we get into that, we want to do a little bit of a quick recap of WWE Friday Night Smackdown this week, since we're doing the small recaps during our main NXT and AEW review, since we're not going through a full review of Raw and Smackdown right now until those shows improve. And I thought last night's Smackdown show, I should say, was a good example of why we're not doing a full review every week. We basically had a few segments. A lot of it, to me, did not make a whole lot of sense. We had the coronation of King Nakamura. There really wasn't anything to this other than the fact that he was in the middle of the ring, sitting on a throne, wearing a crown, and Rick Boogs was playing his guitar. So, I mean, it's kind of a nothing segment, really. We had Bayley and Cesaro versus Seth Rollins and Bianca Belair. Bayley pinned Bianca Belair in this tag match. Had to just pin the champion, didn't you? As we have trouble with that here on this show, or at least I do. I understand needing a win for Bayley to get her over a little bit here, but book any other match with any other talents to make her look strong. I just can't stand. Not only that, pin Cesaro if you have to in this tag match. I mean, or Seth Rollins. Either one of them could have ate the pin and it'd have been just fine, in my opinion. We also had Big E against Apollo Crews for what feels like the 100th time. And it was a qualifier match for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Big E pinned Apollo Crews, yet another champion who takes a clean loss here. At least I'll give him this. They were clean victories, so I'll give him that. He won after Aziz got ejected by shoving Big E into the barricade earlier in the match. So let me get this straight. Hitting someone with the flimsy plastic piece of an announce table warrants a disqualification, but physically getting involved in a match only warrants an ejection? All right, I got it. Cool.
I'm telling you, it's so weird.
Yeah, so, another point to reason why we don't watch these shows fully. Carmella was added to the Money in the Bank women's match for no reason early in this show, when every other competitor in the match qualified for it on Raw. And then she immediately lost to Liv Morgan, who had to prove she belonged in the Money in the Bank ladder match to Sonya Deville. But since this match here was not a qualifying match, since already Carmella was put in it already, Liv still hasn't been added to the match despite defeating Carmella. So I don't understand what this was all about. It makes no sense to me.
I mean, listen. There may be a story here, and like eventually what will happen is Liv will take that spot from Carmella.
That maybe.
Again, if this is the first part of the story, we just can't jump the gun and be like, "Oh, it's all shit." We have no idea.
True, but I still think Carmella should have at least earned her spot in the Money in the Bank like everybody else did.
But I think I think that's the point. And then Liv will be the one who takes that spot because she'll earn it.
I mean,
I don't think Carmella will be in it.
I mean, as of right now, I don't like it, but we'll see what they do, I guess. And then we had the main event segment, which, again, Roman Reigns and the Usos are great on this show. And despite what I'm about to say about this main event, everybody played their part well. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman were basically in the ring claiming there was no one else left for the Roman Reigns to beat, which is technically true. Even though Edge returned here, what they said is still true, though, because Edge lost at WrestleMania in convincing fashion. I don't care if it wasn't a one-on-one match. He and Daniel Bryan both were pinned with their shoulders to the mat convincingly by Roman Reigns. So
as it should be.
Yeah, agreed. I agree.
He's right, but he's also wrong in a sense of you didn't get that one-on-one. That's what you wanted. Yeah, he beat him, but I mean, still, no matter what, Reigns was taken out for a while, where you just had Daniel Bryan and Edge.
And he got his one-on-one match too, which I didn't care a whole lot for.
So, you will get it. But he's right.
No, I mean, to me, it's like if Roman could beat both of them at the same time, he could definitely beat a one-on-one. So,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So, just getting the one-on-one doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
At the same time, it's like we went through that whole 2 years where Brock Lesnar just went through everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody. Yeah. So it kind of doesn't matter. Like,
that's the problem.
You like that, then you like this.
Yeah, I guess. To me, it's just like Edge didn't earn this. He came back after months since WrestleMania was the last time we saw him, and all of a sudden, all right, you've got a Universal title match, which they did confirm is going to be the main event of Money in the Bank. So that is going to happen. And I guess Jimmy Uso is just all of a sudden helping Roman Reigns now. Because
no, last week he even said so. It's not
okay,
just
so
out of
see, I was
nowhere.
out of town last week, so I didn't get to watch
Yeah,
SmackDown. So
it's not out of nowhere. He
okay,
literally came to Roman and said, "You're right. You know, we got to do what's right for the family." That's what it was. It's the same thing minus the beating. He just wore Jimmy down with his persistence and Jay's constant persistence as well. It's like,
now did they write Jay off last week to an injury or something? Because he
so.
wasn't on this week's show.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I didn't understand that part, but that's mostly my fault because I was out of town. Jimmy or Edge came out and laid out Roman Reigns. Jimmy made the save and got laid out for his troubles, and he got speared through the barricades. Edge looked absolutely amazing in this. He had that old psychotic rated R superstar look, which is what he was missing since he got back. So I'm glad they're still following that up. I do believe he'll be the babyface now going forward, though. Since Mania, he was kind of the heel, but it looks like
it was weird though because he wasn't wrong.
No,
in his whole, his whole speech, leading to WrestleMania, it was supposed to be his time, and that got taken away because Daniel Bryan made it a 3-way, so he wasn't wrong.
I mean, I like the fact that Edge is in the title match. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like, okay, he got beat, and now he's just in a match for whatever reason. That part, I just wish they would play it out better. Maybe have him earn it when he comes back, and maybe bring it back a little earlier than now, since we're only a few weeks from Money in the Bank. I know.
The draft's coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
After Money in the Bank, correct?
Well, it's after SummerSlam, so we got another month or two. But
we got time for that.
Right. So, and I'm sure what the reports are, it'll be John Cena challenging Roman Reigns, assuming Edge loses at Money in the Bank, but we'll see what they do.
Man, can you imagine the wrench in the plane if Edge went, Edge is supposed to win that?
I mean, you can still do John Cena, Roman Reigns, but I think it would mean more Cena going for his 17th record-breaking title against the man who can't be stopped in Roman Reigns. So that would be more of a selling point to me. But after he speared Jimmy through the barricades, Edge jumped in the ring as Roman ran up the ramp and stopped. Edge got in the ring and while staring at the hard camera said, "Where are you, Roman?" Turn your head, Edge. He's right there.
I don't think he meant it in that sense.
No, but it was kind of weird. It was like, I don't know if he thought he would run all the way to the back or what, but
I don't think that was the case.
It was just kind of funny.
More or less like, where are you? Like, why you ain't here type situation. Not
right.
We're not
like I was literally just beating you up. Yeah, it was just weird. He was standing there looking at him. And he's like, "Where are you, Roman?" I'm like, But anyway, after that, he said, "You want me? I'm right here," as SmackDown went off the air. So, like I said, Edge and Roman will have a great match. I have no doubt about that. That'll be a fun match to watch. I just wish they'd book it a little better, like a lot of their stuff. The wrestling is never WWE's issue, in my opinion. A lot of times they have great matches, and a lot of matches on this show were good in and of themselves. Even the mixed tag with Bayley and Cesaro and all them.
They're squishing, time and I can't say convenience because I don't think it is. It's just they got so much shit lined up, and that's one thing I kind of miss in a sense about back in the day wrestling, that they had so many pay-per-views, but it was like in between those pay-per-views they had time to build up this guy, push this story here, drive this point here. You know what I mean? Now it's just boom, 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 and you don't have that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So storylines are 2 weeks pay-per-view.
Are you talking about wrestling in general or just WWE?
Wrestling in general, but especially with WWE.
Yeah, I think it's more, to me, more of a main roster issue. I think NXT does a good job. I think AEW does a pretty good job.
Because NXT still has that time.
Yeah.
They'll have
AEW has that time too, except for when they have their big shows on like a Wednesday. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
WWE pushes it every month.
And it's like you guys they don't have that buffer period. You know what I mean? You just got 2 weeks pay-per-view. Like it's just like pull it back.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so I guess we'll move on to the main portion of this show, and that is AEW Dynamite this week. This is on a Saturday show as we get back to crowds from the looks of it. I think they said that going forward, AEW will have crowds every week now. And I believe WWE is not too far behind them, starting in a couple weeks, I believe, or at least at Money in the Bank. I don't know about the Raw and SmackDown shows yet.
Whatever their first show in Houston is.
Yeah, I think it's Friday night or something a few weeks from now.
That's
something
when
like that.
they'll have live crowds.
Yeah. But it'd be good to finally get that back, at least for the big Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So that'll make the Money in the Bank match and that Robot Edge match even better. So that'll definitely help out for sure. But for AEW here, the show started out with Adam Hangman Page versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I thought this was a really good, if you want to take a turn from JR, slobber knocker type of an opener for this show. Both guys, were beating the crap out of each other. And somewhere in this match, Adam Hangman Page busted the back of his head open, and he had blood gushing all over his hair. But yeah, it looked like it definitely sucked. I like to know where he did it.
I don't know. I looked down, and when I looked back up, I was like, "Is he bleeding?"
Yeah. There was a spot in this match too where I thought Powerhouse Hobbs gave a spine buster to Adam Hangman Page when he went off the rope for the buckshot lariat.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice counter, and actually I almost bought the near fall. I thought he was going to beat him right there off that.
I thought it was a 3, because the ref was shaking his hand like the match was over type shit, but he was saying 2. I thought he said 3. I was like, "Yo, Hobbs just beat him."
Yeah,
but then
Well, I mean, I think they said Powerhouse Hobbs was even the number 4 ranked contender, so I didn't realize he was that high up. But they were talking about how the winner of this could possibly get Kenny Omega, which by the end of the night, again, maybe that's where they're. And we've been talking for a long while who's going to dethrone Kenny Omega, but we'll talk about that a little bit more after we get to the main event.
Nice too, though.
The what was? Oh, the spine buster.
Spine buster was nice.
Yeah, and it made some sense too because earlier in the match, Powerhouse Hobbs was working over Hangman's arm that he uses for the lariat. He didn't actually hit the buckshot lariat, but he forearmed it a couple times and hit the Deadeye for the win. So it was a nice way of still getting the win with one of his other finisher type maneuvers, and he didn't have to use the buckshot, so it made sense since he was working over the arm. So I liked how they did that personally. Let's see here.
Wasn't there some interference in this?
Yeah, I was about ready to get to it. Before the pinfall, Ricky Starks and Hook ran out with the FTW Championship, which is Brian Cage's title. They went to hand it to Hobbs to hit Hangman Page with it, but that's when Brian Cage came out and took the belt away from them, and then I think he even ripped Ricky Starks' jacket off, and Ricky Starks ran away acting like he hurt his neck when he ripped the jacket off. But another bit of a deal here where Brian Cage is not getting along with Taz's team.
Shot lariat got reversed into the spine buster.
Yeah, so
because
it was a little bit of a distraction.
He was distracted, which didn't really work out well because he was distracted, but he still reversed your move. So
right.
On him.
Which, and there, I believe there was one other distraction on this show. But again, until they start doing it 4 or 5 times an episode, I'm not going to kill AEW for it yet. Distraction here and there is fine. Just don't let it get too carried away, in my opinion. But yeah, so good.
There were some distractions in this other one, though.
Yeah, there was another match. Like I said, there was at least one more. But like I said, as long as they don't get too carried away with it. But yeah, I mean, Hangman Page obviously is being set up for a world title match at some point. I'm glad they're building him back up after he got beat a few months back or whatever.
This also did 2 things, though. Furthered, Hangman Page, but it also furthered the dissension between Cage and the rest of Taz's group.
And at some point, Cage is going to break away from this, clearly.
Yeah, because Hobbs was yelling at him to bring him back the title, and he didn't. He was like, "You got it."
Taz even said on commentary he's about to go have a talk with his crew, which we never saw any of them again the rest of the night. No. But that's okay. You don't have to do it all tonight. I'm sure we'll get to it some next week. But yeah.
Before this, though, remember earlier there was, I can't remember the interviewer's name, but he was trying to talk to Sammy Guevara, and coming into the building and fucking Sean Spears hit him with the chair all the way in the building. Right. Yeah. This is my only complaint about that. The announcer saw him long before.
The announcer didn't warn Sammy at all. You're right.
He looked dead at him.
Yeah.
And this is before he even stood up. And then he gets up. Sammy turned way too fast because he was cocking it back, and there's enough time for you to see him, and he still ate the chair, though. I was like...
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to turn so he could get it in the shoulder.
Yeah, he was like...
that he did, but... Yeah. But it was a little awkward, I suppose. But yeah, and the announcer didn't help much, for sure.
He made me laugh because he was like...
But I thought Sean Spears actually played his part well there. I liked when he bent down on his knee with the chair. He's like, courtesy of MJF. He just kind of laughed, and I liked it.
Just because his face, he just looked at him like...
was a funny spot. Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's great.
That just made me laugh, though.
We had a very good video package that hyped up the Omega Jungle Boy match for later tonight. They set it up as one of the biggest matches in Dynamite history, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. The Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler cut a promo. Matt said they're the longest reigning tag champions in AEW history. Cutler started to talk, but was told to shut up immediately.
Yes.
They listed all the people they've beaten, and next is Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo. They're not even real tag wrestlers, they said. They even made mention of the fact that it looked like they were two singles wrestlers they put together, which is something WWE main roster has been known to do. So I don't know if that, obviously, it was a little bit of a dig without saying it.
So is AEW.
They've done it sometimes too. And sometimes it's worked, and sometimes it don't.
Tag partner.
Well, I don't know how do they have a bunch? I know this one. Yes, I'll give you this one.
They have. They put what's his name, Pac, and well, he has a tag partner, but
yeah, it's Penta and Phoenix.
But Penta and Phoenix, they're both singles wrestlers beforehand. But but
they're both Lucha Libres, so that makes some sense, I guess. They look like a team.
It's because they're legit brothers too.
I'm not sure, but anyway.
Anyway, that's not the point. Moxley and.
But they're friends for years, so I give them that. They've been friends for like 20-some years. So, well, at least they have a history, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like you're going to take, Tamina and Shayna Baszler, two people that we don't...
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? There's a little difference there, but...
I mean, not everybody starts off that way, too.
No, I mean, it's just Cesaro and Sheamus that were, bitter enemies, and they ended up being a great tag team. Of course, they built that story... that was the difference, I thought, to what made it good, because they were enemies, and then they went to like a best of 7.
Technical about the shit. The Good Brothers weren't never really a tag team. They were always part of a group, but they were individual wrestlers for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. But now they've been together for a while. Yeah, but now AEW didn't do that.
But that's still a group situation. Like, they've always been part of a faction. Mm-hmm. They still were great singles wrestlers, but then they, went down the tag road when they more or less came to WWE. Mm-hmm. And then, because even in New Japan, they were part of the book.
I just think
tag like that.
I just think AEW is kind of doing this thing, which I kind of prefer, kind of like stuff even WWE used to do back in the day. Like when you introduce two new guys, they're already a part of a team. Yeah, and so you introduce them that way, so they're always been a team. I
mean, but this way, New Day, a perfect example.
Yeah, that's one that worked.
Those were 3 separate,
three guys they had nothing for, so I think that's why it worked. A lot of it, but they also made the gimmick work when it never should have. But you know what I'm saying, like it wasn't like you took AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and said, here you go. It's a little different, but
first of all though,
that would be a great tag team, but it'd be dope. Yeah, I mean, dreamers can dream, right? Or at least Shinsuke and AJ of New Japan, that would be another thing, but yeah, that would be something. After this, by the way, before we move on from this promo, I think it was Nick Jackson was wearing this French hat with like this clip that had this gold bracelet or whatever, or I don't know what it was, a gold chain. That was interesting as all hell.
Who was double bunned up?
I don't know.
A bun, but then their hair also did another bun.
I'm guessing it was Matt did because he was wearing the hat, or Nick was wearing the hat. So
then Matt was not wearing a hat.
Now, obviously, they're doing this gimmick where they can look as ridiculous as possible. I'm sure they're doing this Johnny Drip Drip thing or whatever. Their whole gimmick is to be ridiculous and to mock and make fun of, classic tag team wrestlers and things. So I get what they're doing. A lot of people don't care for it. I get it, but at least they're doing their job and. They're getting heat for sure, regardless if it's a good heat or not. I don't know, but then we had Tully Blanchard and Conan in the ring.
Okay.
This was interesting.
I'm sorry. This segment went on way too long.
Yeah, they did talk a little much. Conan cut a decent promo, I thought, but maybe it went a little longer than it needed to.
But it was a little weird because it was like, why are you talking about this shit? First of all, a lot of this shit sounds illegal. You shouldn't be talking about it at all.
Well, and it's interesting too because yes, we saw Conan during the Stadium Stampede match with Pride and Powerful. But he hasn't really been involved with them other than that. No, Tully Blanchard has been the manager, this whole time of FTR, so it makes sense. And I even mentioned to you guys in our private chat before we filmed that Tully Blanchard is 10 years older than Conan. He's 67, Conan is 57, but Conan looks way worse than Tully Blanchard right now.
I'll believe Conan had a stroke at some point.
If that's the case, I didn't know, but yeah, I mean, I just looked like Conan was in rough shape.
Yeah,
That being said, though, he tried to pull this little trick where he was going to bring out Santana and Ortiz, and they were going to, get the jump on Tully, but the two guys come out in hoods and masks, and then that's when Tully directed everybody's attention to the screen, and they showed Santana and Ortiz down in the back, and apparently FTR had laid them out. So that's when the the two guys in the hoods and masks revealed themselves. It was FTR themselves, and FTR and Tully double teamed Conan here, and they even did the spike pile driver on him, which Conan took like a champ. I'll give him credit for a guy his age, So good on him for that. It's kind of like the Dean Malenko beatdown that MJF gave last week, which we're about to get into as well. But it's using these older talents to get some of these younger talents over. So I got no problem with that. I just hope Conan's okay. He definitely took it pretty tough. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, I thought it was interesting to continue that feud. And when these two guys when these two teams, Pride and Powerful and FTR, have their tag match, it's going to be a barn burner. These two teams could have one of the best tag team matches of the year, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Vicky Guerrero interrupted during Dante.
Okay,
Dante Martin's features.
It was weird to me because Dante comes out.
Yeah. Then she just comes out in between.
I hear her talking. I'm like, what the fuck? And then she comes out, and then she's going to say, and then Andrade comes out.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you where I think this is going.
Goes to say something, and then Matt Sydal just walks out. And
yeah,
I was like,
that's what they're doing. Yeah, what they're doing, I think, here is, yes, it was kind of awkward the way they put it in here, right in between the entrances. But what I think they're planning on doing here, because there was this moment when Andrade was standing there, they interrupted Vicky when both Sydals walked out, and Matt Sydal in particular gave Andrade the stare. And then Matt Sydal goes on to win this match against Dante. What I think they're going to do is Matt Sydal versus Andrade, and Andrade is going to get that win to get it going here. So I think that's what they're doing. But we're going to have to probably wait another week or two before we get that. But it was a nice little, we got something already planned going forward, So, yeah, with that being said, Matt Sydal and Dante Martin actually had a pretty good match here, I thought. Dante Martin's young.
But isn't he a part of a tag team? Because they said something about his brother.
He might be, but it's probably a Dark situation where I don't watch very often. But yeah, but they talk like he's been on Dark a lot and he's been having some good matches, so that's why he got the spot on here on Dynamite. But there was a spot in this match where he springboarded off the bottom rope, and Tony Schiavone said that you don't see that very often. I was like, well, there's a good reason for that, because when he did it, he almost felt the rope wobbled too much and it almost didn't go. But so that's why you don't see it often.
He still pulled it off.
He still pulled it off, that's for sure. Dante hit a great sunset flip for a near fall, followed by a flipping stunner for 2.
That flipping stunner was clean. Like,
yeah, it was nice.
So much air.
And there was another spot where he did a springboard off one rope, off a second rope, and then did a moonsault, which I thought was great as well. But Sydal avoided a stomp and hit the lightning spiral for the win. So, like I said, good mid-card match, I thought. Good to see Dante Martin get a little bit of a shine here. They say he was only 20 years old, so the kid's only got nowhere to go but up. So, yeah, he's got a lot of good years left in him. Then we had Jungle Boy was about to talk backstage, which is funny because he mentioned on Busted Open Radio this week that he is not very good at promos, and he feels like that's his weakest part. So, as Bubba Ray or Bully Ray said, you just need to get out there and do more of them. Just get out there and do them a lot. And so they started to do one here, but he didn't say much before he got interrupted by Christian Cage, who walked up and he agreed that tonight was going to be the biggest night of his life. He said Jungle Boy shouldn't just be happy to be here. He should be a little bit pissed off because of what Omega's been saying. He told Jungle Boy to shock the fans again and win the title tonight. So I actually kind of thought there might have been a time where maybe Christian Cage was going to maybe turn heel and cost Jungle Boy the match tonight, but I'm glad they didn't do that because they're obviously doing this thing with Christian Cage and Matt Hardy, but a part of me still wants to see, even though a lot of fans may not care for it, I still kind of want to see Christian Cage maybe against Omega, even though Omega will win that match before he loses the belt. But I still kind of wonder if we're going to get that at some point here. And you can play off the Jungle Boy thing to do it for sure. We had Jade Cargill was with Mark Sterling. They were advertising the Jade brand and the Shop AEW promo code because I guess they got some new merch out there. Cargill ripped up one of the Dark Order shirts and said she was that bitch. So you noticed for once she had abs, but
she did.
I was like, boy, where you been, man? She's had abs. She's showing them off every week. So
I ain't never paid attention.
They've been there, so definitely for sure.
I didn't.
We had MJF, Wardlow, and Shawn Spears were with Alex Marvez. MJF talked about attacking Jericho and having Spears attack Guevara. He doesn't understand why people were upset at him for attacking Dean Malenko, an old guy with a bad heart and Parkinson's disease, which I didn't know till after he took that beat down.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure Dean approved it and wanted to do it, but I hope everything's okay with him. Bad heart and Parkinson's is nothing to mess with. MJF said the fans should be thanking him because he gave Malenko an early retirement. Jericho and Hager ran in, leading to an all-out brawl. They brawled out to the ring, and then the Pinnacle took control, even though for a while there, 2-on-3, Inner Circle was winning this fight. MJF and Spears got set up to destroy Jericho's arm with a chair, but Guevara's music hit. He ran out and took out everyone. He whacked Wardlow and Spears with the chair, with MJF fleeing up the ramp because they're going to wrestle on Wednesday next week. MJF and Sammy Guevara are.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you were going to hit Jericho with that chair, regardless of Sammy Guevara's music coming on, you should have still hit him with that
Yeah, you
chair.
could have still done it, but they did this whole thing kind of like we could play with WWE where the music distracted. Now,
That's
I
what
will.
I'm saying.
Yeah, but at least in this case, he
He
ran
still
right
had
out there.
Ample amount of time to do it.
He
It
did.
would have meant it had much more of an impact if you still would have got that chair shot off.
Well, I guess they just wanted to have Guevara make the same. But to me, it would have been more effective if they didn't play the music.
Yeah,
But I think they
as
wanted to
soon
get
as
the
he just ran
pop.
out.
I think I get trying to get the pop, but it's better if he just
He
slides in
would've
the ring real
got the pop
fast.
regardless. If he'd have just
Yeah.
ran in, jumped off the top, and kicked him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he would have.
Right before that chair, because it was so. Interruptions are so weird because, like I said, everybody turns and looks towards the direction you're coming.
Right.
It's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, and if you shoot it right, even though the crowd's turning, you can still sell it to the home crowd, for sure. So I agree with you. I think the better play here would have been him just to run in the ring real fast, break it up. But because the music hit, they did this whole dumb thing where the heels got distracted. At least it wasn't a dumb babyface thing this time. But
they all do it. All
yeah,
of them.
yeah, they do.
No matter what company. If there's
Some do it
one
less than
person
others,
in the
but
ring, what they do is they all turn, look, and then the two other dudes will sit in the corner like this.
Right.
Wait, and I'm like, get him.
I guess it's supposed to be they're shocked or stunned that's happening, and then they gotta collect themselves. I don't know, but yeah, it's a dumb wrestling thing. But
it's wrestling. It's wrestling.
yeah. Which is why I'm not crucifying that part of it. But I get the music part of it. Maybe you should not have
Hit
done
him
the
with
music
the chair.
part. Right. Or just whack Jericho with the chair. But with that being said, though, Guevara did grab the microphone to loud Sammy chants. He said AEW chose the wrong guy for the action figures and the posters. And on Wednesday this next week, Guevara will show MJF he's the best ever, and he knows it, kind of playing off of MJF slide here. I'll say this, though, despite whether or not this was, shot right with the music and all that. Sammy Guevara, they're booking him, and they're going to strap the rocket to this kid, as they should. He's over as all over again.
Way since Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Or no, the first All In, when it was him and Janelle and Kip
Joey
Sabian,
Janela, yeah.
that match they had.
Right.
With his pink.
Inner Circle has helped his star rise even further. Jericho's done a great job of
That's
elevating
what I'm
this
saying.
kid.
Since the pink tights to now.
Yeah. They've done a good job with him.
And they've done a good job with him.
I know we got a little bit of heat a little bit for, I think, some stuff you might have said, but I think some of that's blown over. But I'll say this, though. Everybody wants to criticize, AEW. Oh, you're bringing in the ex-WWE rejects. Sammy Guevara, MJF, Orange Cassidy, and Jungle Boy. All of which... Oh, and Hangman Page. All of which are over as all crap right now. MJF is mostly a heel, or is a total heel, but he's over as a heel. But the other four are baby faces, all over, and they're all young. So they've done a good job of positioning these young guys for the future. So say what you want. They're making new stars, slowly but surely. So you got to give them credit for that. Miro, I loved this.
This promo,
He was in the back, sitting backwards on a chair with the title draped over it, praying, and he thanked God for his power for keeping it.
Thank God. He thanked Jesus. I think he said. Did he say baby Jesus? He said
I don't know if he said baby Jesus, but anyway, he was praying to God, and he thanked him for his power and for keeping his wife flexible. I died. What he said. Hey, he's got a beautiful wife, and I'm sure she'll be here before too long.
Keeping my wife flexible.
I'm sure she'll be in AEW soon. God bless the man for loving his wife. Can't fault him for that. She's gorgeous.
Miranda looked up at me like, what?
What did he say? So, yeah, I look forward to seeing her in AEW. I think it'll go well with this character right now. He addressed Brian Pillman Jr., saying standing between the righteous man and his path is like standing between the cleaver and its meat. Next week, he will find out why Miro is God's favorite champion. The bravest thing he's ever done in his life was thinking about attacking Miro. The stupidest was actually doing it. So, again, Miro's cutting good promos here right now. It seems like every week he's got a good one. And I don't know exactly where the whole God aspect is coming in from this, but I think it's actually been pretty good. I always worn the cross, so if that's if he wants to play on his religion or whatever, I guess that's cool. But yeah, it's working for me. I think he's doing a good job here.
It was
so far.
funny,
and they've got him on this main streak as they should have done since the day they got him. But at least they finally. Unlike the other company who had him, they finally decided to go with it. Yeah. So I'm glad they did. Or at least, I mean, WWE did for a while when they had him as the Bulgarian brute. I guess they did for a bit, but they didn't take it to this extent all the time. But anyway. Ethan Page had a match with Bear Bronson in which he won the match.
It was a hard-fought match.
Yeah, I thought Bear Bronson, too. He did this, dive up to the outside through the middle rope, and and Scorpio Sky, poor Scorpio Sky on the outside, ate his full body weight when he did it. And Bear Bronson is not a small man.
See, JR said something about that. JR goes, they surprised me with their agility,
as
in both of them. And then I seen it, I was like, dude, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's like Ivar, no.
Bronson Reed.
Yeah, Bronson Reed.
That's who I
But
compare
even
him to.
Stan Hansen, a.k.a. Ivar, is it? From Viking Raiders?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think.
He's agile as shit, for a guy his size.
Yeah. They fought on the top rope where Ethan Page hit a superplex. A superplex on Bear Bronson.
Jesus.
Bronson came back with a black hole slam for 2. He went to the top rope where Sky tried to interfere. Boulder chased off Sky, but Page had a low blow with the referee distracted, and Page then hit the Ego's Edge for the win, which is another move where you have to hold Bear Bronson in the air. So, I mean, impressive stuff. Yeah, impressive. But to your credit, this was a little bit of some distraction stuff going on the outside. Yeah,
it was a good match too.
Yeah. I mean, and they still got at least a clear-cut winner, but sometimes AEW does do this thing where they got too many guys, fighting around the outside, which distracts the official. That needs to, I mean, it's not every match, but it's definitely a problem. They need to correct that for sure. After the match, Page said, "I'm not stupid." He was met with "Yes, you are" chants from the crowd, which is, again, why we need crowds back. He's not stupid because he knows Darby Allin is not done with him. Page is going to be the nail in Allin's coffin, so why don't I put you in what he said. He challenged Darby Allin to a coffin match in a couple weeks when they go back, I believe, on the road even. Or that one may be a Daily's Place, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's on their, whatever it is, their first kind of pay-per-view-esque show they're doing in July, which is about every week in July on Wednesday, as a matter of fact. So, but this makes some sense to me. A coffin match against a wrestler whose finisher is the coffin drop. So at least the name of the match makes sense. Maybe the aesthetic doesn't. So at least they're playing off that a little bit. So at least it's a stipulation that kind of makes some sense.
Hey, at least there were no weird catchphrases at the end of this one.
As in?
Scorpio Sky didn't say anything weird.
Oh, like, man of the year. I can't remember. It was a couple weeks ago they said something or whatnot. Yeah. But
so I was fine. But they were jamming to their theme music.
Yeah. It's not bad music. Britt Baker and Rebel were backstage. They listed things they'd asked for. They could think of a million things they'd ask for if Tony Khan owed them a favor, but Vicky Guerrero asked for a wrestling match. Baker's the new face of a new era, one that doesn't have time for fun and games and old chicks. Excuse me in advance for beating your ass, which is great because she played off the excuse me line. She'll send Vicky home with a prescription signed DMD. I got a feeling
didn't know Vicky was going to wrestle.
Yeah, it's next week. It's her and Nyla Rose versus Baker and Rebel. Obviously, it's going to be mostly, I think, Baker and Nyla Rose. Rebel and Vicky are probably just going to play small parts, But I mean, Vicky's wrestled before in other companies, so it's not like she's obviously she's not the greatest wrestler in the world, but she's been in that position before where she's had to do a few things. So
she'll have a couple spots, but I think not a little carry.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're going to do with this. You got to just don't pin Britt Baker. I mean, you know how I am. If you want to beat Britt Baker and Rebel, pin Rebel.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that,
Don't
you know.
pin-
Or and if you're going to
don't-
beat Nyla, pin Vicky. Don't
Yeah,
pin
don't
Nyla,
be-
you know.
yeah.
You don't pin the number 1 contender. Don't pin the champion. That's all I ask. Otherwise, I'm sure it'll be. We'll see what it does. I don't know if it'll be good or not. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think Nyla being for the majority of it.
Right, absolutely. Guerrero said that Nyla Rose is coming for Baker's title at Fyter Fest, so I guess that's when they're going to do this match. Okay. Rose said that next week Baker should watch out for the claws of the cougar. Okay.
I don't know if you should have said that part.
That's a thing. All right. After this, we had Chris Statlander defeating the Bunny. Let's see. Statlander climbed to the top, but was sent back to the mat with a German super.
There was some fuckery in this one.
Yeah, this was the other one I was thinking of. I forgot about the Ethan Page match.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the one that had a little bit more distraction to it, I thought. But Buddy followed it up with a thrust kick for 2, but Blade distracted the official, slipped her brass knuckles, but Orange pocketed them and left. Statlander hit the Big Bang Theory for the win.
Nasty move.
Yeah, it was. And I read on Twitter that the doctor was actually talking with Bunny and walked her to the back. Now, they could have just been selling stuff. I don't know. But hopefully Buddy's okay here. If not, our thoughts go out to her.
Was a nasty one.
Blade attacked Orange after the match with TH2 running out to join the beatdown. Blade got the brass knuckles back and knocked out Cassidy with them as TH2 held him up.
Flush as shit.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're getting Blade versus Orange Cassidy here soon, for sure. Probably, Blade, in his mind, avenging the Bunny here for her loss against Chris Statlander. But with Trent out, I guess they mentioned he had neck fusion surgery. He had pictures of it on Twitter. So Chuck was with Trent this week. That's why they weren't there. But so our well wishes are with Trent for sure, and hopefully he gets back soon. Because wasn't it he who was just out a long time with an arm injury?
Ago,
So I hope I don't know how long this will be, but definitely anytime you get something with the neck, it could be a while. So hopefully he'll be ready to go again soon. QT Marshall was interviewed by Tony Schiavone about Brock Anderson.
I will say I like QT Marshall.
Yeah, QT cut some decent promos. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. He was upset that Brock got all these accolades for his debut. Marshall noted that Cody's not here, and he hopes it stays that way. And obviously, in a few weeks, we're getting QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes in a strap match on July 7th on Dynamite. Yes. So, yeah, so they're going to finish that feud, or at least their one-on-one feud for sure. Mm-hmm. Brian Pillman Jr. addressed Miro. He thinks Miro's got a
promo here.
Yeah, he did too. He thinks Miro's got a good god complex. Pillman's got a complex too, and it's called fighting for everything he's ever had. On Wednesday, he's going to check Miro's ego and win the title. Good luck with that. Yeah. But, Brian Pillman will probably have, much like the main event, which we're about to get to, it's not about the wins and losses when it comes to that part of it. It's about getting them over despite the fact the champion beats them. So I think Pillman will probably look good against Miro. Hopefully. Either that or Miro will squash him. We'll see what happens. Eddie Kingston, Penta, and Alex Abrahantes spoke backstage. Kingston learned something about the Bucks. It doesn't matter how much they get hit because it's all about their ego. The only way to hurt them is to take those tag titles. Penta spoke in Spanish. Penta says next week we run you over. So that's that'll be a hell of a match.
I don't think Eddie Kingston knows wrestling isn't real. Did you hear what he said?
Agreed. That's wrestling. We're talking real life here. Yeah.
I'm like, hold on.
Now I think is Pocket Phoenix legit hurt? I know Moxley's not. He's just taking time off for his baby.
Yeah. I don't know, but maybe. But like I said, I don't think Eddie knows it's fake.
And I know people. I saw people online when Bunny got walked to the back by the doctor. We're talking about how AEW's got too many injuries. Well, here's the thing. I get it. I get the understand. Other companies do things safer, but those other companies sometimes look ultra fake. And when you do things too safe, this, like JR once said, this is not ballet. People are going to get hurt. It does happen, but
you also too got to realize that this is their livelihood.
Right.
If they get hurt to the point where they can't do that, then who do you blame?
Yeah, with the Trent stuff too.
Honestly, where does it stop? You're right. Some of these guys are super young, but doing what you do, which isn't ballet, but doing it, can't say recklessly, but taking chances you shouldn't.
Like Darby Allin. There's no sense in Darby Allin doing all the stuff
for the sake of people going, that's not good.
I know you've probably done that all your life to get to this point, but at some point, work, smart, not hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, injuries do happen, but there is a fine line there. You got to be careful not to cross. Absolutely. Next, we had the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega defending his title against Jungle Boy. Kudos to the official here, at least I'm sure they booked it this way. Obviously, it wasn't the official, but they started the match out. They immediately ejected Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, and the Good Brothers from the ringside. So this was one-on-one.
Yeah,
absolutely. I didn't want to see any shenanigans here. Now there was a spot later in this match where I believe the Good Brothers tried. The Good Brothers tried to run out, but Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Hunter, stopped them, and of course Jungle Express came out there and wrestled to the back. So they really had no involvement in the match itself. So that I'm so glad of, especially in a match of this importance. That being said, though, this match was excellent. It was one of the best Dynamite matches this year.
This is good.
They've been building it for weeks. Jungle Boy earned the opportunity, as what I want to see all contenders do for their titles. And
there was a couple spots in here where I was like, they might just let him win.
Oh yeah, there was a few. There was one in particular. I can't remember the exact spot. There was after a V-trigger where I think Jungle Boy barely got his shoulder up, but then Jungle Boy. Oh, it was the spot where he reversed the one-winged angel and he rolled him up or something. This was like a 3 9/10 count. This was like as close could get. I thought Kenny was going to get beat here, but there's multiple V-triggers here, and of course he finally hits the one-winged angel for the win here because nobody kicks out of that in AEW. So that's they're protecting the finish, so that's good. Yeah, so I mean, again, this is not about, to me. We've known for weeks Kenny Omega was going to win this match. Jungle Boy was not. Now, again, they made us believe, like they did with Orange Cassidy.
It's the same thing with when you have Brock Lesnar and anybody. You knew they weren't going to win. You knew who was going to win. It's the same thing when it goes to Roman Reigns right now. But there's times where you're like, I don't know, he might actually lose this.
It's about making us believe in the match, like they did with Pocket Orange a few weeks ago. Yep. They made us believe in this match that Jungle Boy could win. This crowd bought every second of it. So, I mean, yes, us smart wrestling fans understand. From a booking standpoint, you don't have Jungle Boy win it yet. He's going to get it one day. He's young. But right now, it's the right move for Kenny to keep this belt. But it's not about, even if you know the wins and who's going to win and lose, it's not about that. Because if you look at this from not knowing that particular bit of information as just a show, you're supposed to kind of have this hope that, or at least belief that Jungle Boy could win at any time. And that's what makes it fun. Yes, as smart fans, sometimes it takes a little bit of the fun out of it, knowing the finish before it happens, but as long as you perform it well.
Even if you know it, it's getting there.
Yeah.
You didn't know all that shit was going to happen in between, and like you said, sometimes cards subject to change, and those moments of where it looks like they might just give it to him. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Even though I think personally, card subject to change is for something else. That to me, that's an excuse when you want to change stuff sometimes. But I mean, that term used to mean if a competitor got hurt or they couldn't make the show, like Roman and Rey Mysterio at Hell in a Cell, Roman could be there.
Go, look, I know this is where we're headed, but we can also go this way with this.
Well, then don't book it.
Give this guy his turn. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, well, and I understand booking things on a fly a little bit too, but if you advertise something, I don't think you should just change it.
You got what you got. Like, you got that match, you just didn't get the outcome you wanted.
Well, it's not the outcome. It's like sometimes like they'll book a match and then not deliver that match. You know, that's where it's like, okay, you false advertise. I don't appreciate that either.
If something happens and you have to change that, that's
well, yeah. If something real life, absolutely, that is card subject change. I got no problem with that. But I'm just saying, if you book something and then you decide, oh, well, you want to go this direction, then they change it. It's like, all right, then you should have booked it to begin with.
I don't feel what you're saying. Like, I don't understand what you mean. Like, if you're saying like it's hit, I'll say so. It was Kenny versus Jungle Boy, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's Kenny versus Hangman. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like they advertised for weeks that Jungle Boy was supposed to be the match. Then you should deliver that match. Card subject to me is like a real life situation, an injury, a family member dies, or you can't be there. That's when card is subject to change. When it's the last resort. A lot of people use card subject to change nowadays. Like let's say WWE wants to book, Roman versus Rey, and then they decide night of, oh wait, we don't want to do that match. Now let's put Roman in the ring with this guy, even though you promoted Rey versus Roman. That's why people bought tickets. That to me.
Oh no, that's not what I was talking about.
Okay, I just know when people say, yeah.
I mean, I simply meant, you were advertised this match, and then you as being a smart fan, you're like, well, Kenny's gonna win this. All of a sudden, Kenny.
Oh
doesn't.
yeah, no, that's not no. Yeah, if
know
you
what I
expect
mean?
Jungle Boy to win and you don't get what you want, that's on you and your expectations. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not under no obligation to give you the finish you want. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
as
what
long as they
that's
deliver
what
the
I was
match,
saying.
that's different. That's a whole other thing. That's just fans being,
But then when you're a
undecisive.
smart fan, and then that doesn't happen. So
Yeah. That's when fans need to realize,
when-
they
okay,
got a
shit
plan for what they're going to give you. That's another story. But no, I'm just talking about if they chase something with.
Oh,
they,
no.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
we've seen in some companies.
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
with you on that one.
Right. I mean, use that as a last resort. But yeah, I mean, this match was incredible, though. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say about it other than just go watch this if you've not seen it. Absolutely,
It was good. This was
It was probably one of the best Dynamite main events of the year for sure, no doubt.
That Jungle Boy's mom out there.
Yeah, they were there, and
It's
there was a
like-
couple times like I thought, Jungle Boy laid it. He got chucked in the first row, and his family, and they just kind of let him fall. It's kind of like I was like, oh my god, but
Imagine being like a parent, like you're like, oh god, no.
yeah, there was a few shots of his mother where she's like, "Oh my God, what's my boy doing?" But yeah, I mean, I thought they made him look like $1,000,000 here. And again, this is
did.
one of those situations in my mind where even though Jungle Boy takes the loss, he had a hell of a match on Dynamite for the world title. He got pinned clean, sure, but he's going to be over more so because of it. They've been doing this with Darby for months now before he got the TNT title, obviously. So there's ways you could still lose and get guys
Only-
over.
Lost number 2.
Yeah, and that's fine. You can have a few, but his overall win-loss record is much higher than 2 losses.
He lost once in a tag match with Darby, and then
Which is a tag
he
match.
Lost to the champion.
Yeah,
I-
no shame in
nothing.
that. I mean, again, and it makes this champion look strong. So when Kenny does lose the belt, which again we discussed a little earlier, which we said we come back around to, would most likely probably at All In or All Out, whichever one's next in September. Hangman Adam Page, since he won earlier, they said he's probably the number 1 guy going forward. He's going to be the one to dethrone Kenny Omega. I'm calling it now, and I think it's not a secret.
It's when Kenny loses the TNA title.
They gotta be. They've got to be
he's
careful about when and how they do that, because if you start telegraphing that, like if you drop them all the belts at once, it's like
I'm telling
okay.
you, when he loses the TNA title, whatever pay-per-views after that is where he's losing.
Well, there's no pay-per-view between now and All In or September, whatever. Now, there's a bunch of Dynamites and Fight for the Fallens and stuff on Wednesdays, but yeah, there's no other.
When's
in
his
between.
TNA defense against Sami Callihan?
It's not too far off, but yeah, that's a possibility. But even so, I think it'll still be a month or month and a half before.
It's fine, but
That's
whenever he loses
that's
that
possible.
TNA title.
Well, and
Like-
there are reports out there right now that Kenny Omega's beat up right now too.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the start of. That's when you'll know.
Yeah, and once he loses the AEW title, I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny takes some time off. And it's well deserved. He's been doing a good job with his part. He's not wrestling every week, which again you don't have to do. That's one of the things I like about AEW is you don't get the same stuff every single week. You get new guys. Yes, they have a big roster, but the beauty of that is you can have different matches each week. You don't have to continue to do rematches and the same stuff every single week. So that's one thing that they do have going for them. After this match, we got Kenny Omega. It looked like he would use the belt to attack Jungle Boy, but Christian Cage ran out and sent him packing. Matt Hardy and Private Party ran out in a typical AEW finisher where just big brawls and mayhem happens. They attacked Christian. Christian was about to counter the Twist of Fate into a kill switch, but the Young Bucks ran out and crushed Christian with super kicks to the head. Hardy hit the Twist of Fate, and Omega posed with the belt to end the show. So the heels, once again, stand tall on Dynamite, much like they did last week. The heels finish it every week. Maybe that needs to change sometimes. You got to send the crowd home happy, which I'm sure they did to the live crowd. But as long as these heels get their comeuppance at some point, which they've discussed how if Kingston and Penta defeat the Young Bucks next week, they'll get a tag team title shot. I hope they don't do the typical WWE booking where you pin the champion to get the title shot.
They're going to have to. It's a tag match.
Well, it just depends on how. I mean, we'll have to see what I don't know. They may or may not, but if they do, I'm not going to be too thrilled with it. But I got faith that they may not do that.
It's the Bucks versus.
There may be some shenanigans to where they still get the title shot, but not pin the champs.
You
They get
can't
screwed.
do a DQ finish on this. You can't go some bullshit route either.
I agree with that. Yeah, so I don't know. It just may not be time for Kingston and Penta for sure. Maybe and that may be the right call for now. Obviously, I think the right call if you're going to lose the belts is eventually Mox and Kingston. But right now with Mox taking time off, I don't know what that'll be, but that would be who I would drop them to at this point. Unless you, no.
Because here's the parallel story here.
Yeah.
You have Kingston and Penta win.
Right.
Then when Mox and Pac come back, they've got some discussing to do. Because what do?
Right.
You have two opposing people in Pac and Moxley, but as far as Kingston is concerned, that's his best friend.
Or you could do this: have Kingston and Penta lose, like I would again keep the champ strong here, and then with Mox and Kingston, they got to figure out stuff still. Or you do the winner of FTR and Pride and Powerful, and they get the Bucks. Well, FTR and that's Pinnacle and Elite, so that could work. I mean, but Pride and Powerful has never. I believe Pride and Powerful have never had a tag team championship at AEW or shot yet. I think they've even mentioned that in some promos.
That's the thing though. Like, you would want them to win those belts, yeah, but it would. I don't know.
The Bucks could stand to lose them at some point, though. I don't think they have to hold them to it much longer.
No.
You could do that at All Out or All In too. Just have the Elite lose all their belts, boom, right one night.
Yeah, you could.
You could, I suppose, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, the Inner Circle and Pinnacle got this blood feud going, so I don't know how that's going to play into the tag title hunt. But those would be the three teams I would think would be the best to go for. But as for Omega, obviously, I think Omega is going to Kenny Omega. But we've got some smaller shows like Fight for the Fallen and Fighter Fest and stuff on Dynamites in the coming month or so with crowds back. They could still do Christian Cage versus Omega. But obviously Christian has got this feud with Matt Hardy right now, which that may be the all-out match between those two guys, and maybe Hardy cost Christian Cage the match against Omega. You could do that. There's things you could do for sure. But Omega's got some challengers waiting in the wings for him, no doubt, so that's where he'll be going after this. But I guess you got any other thoughts?
No,
that's pretty much it.
I mean, it was a solid show, though.
Yeah, solid show. I thought it was a good show. This week, NXT was a solid show. AEW's a solid show. They're the better wrestling shows, in my opinion, compared.
Crazy.
Yeah, and they don't get the views.
Like I said, it's because people want that. They want that.
They want the slower storytelling and wrestling is better than sports entertainment. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me if you're watching this, but that's kind of where I think most of us on this channel, if not all three of us, stand on this here. That's why we kind of feel like Raw and Smackdown needs to improve. But that will do it for the AEW review for June 26, 2021. But the real question here is, guys, what did you guys think about AEW this week? They'll be back on Wednesday nights next week, so make sure to check that out. Please comment down below. Let us know, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And until our next video, guys, take care.
Ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I can jump and roll. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.